But yeah, so as you guys know, my voice is already God. Hello.
It's God?
Yeah,
Good.
I'm Droopy the dog. Oh, man.
Wow.
What's something that
glad
like
you-
Truman Capote would say?
Yeah. Hello.
I'm a writer.
Do Mr. Crocker from the Fairly Odd Parents.
Yeah, do it.
Hold on. What does he say? TB Turner.
Fairies.
That's great. That's it.
I'll get that wish.
Are you doing Reagan?
Well,
You're doing Reagan.
no, that's for tomorrow.
Do Reagan. Do Reagan, but like
No,
late in his presidency.
No, Crocker is like you switch between the two.
But anyway, you guys know that there is a podcast episode out right now, which is about. I know it sounds
Right
weird.
now.
Right now.
But
Do you like? Is there a humidifier in your room or something? Can you like steam up?
Yeah, just turn the shower on.
Just go in the
should
shower.
blow my
Just blow
nose,
this
but
into the
it's like-
shower.
Give a big old honk.
If you dude, if you want to take a quick shower or something just to steam, we can
Yeah.
take
Get
over.
your steamer and turn that on your face.
But let me at least introduce the topic first.
Okay.
All right.
So you guys know that there is a podcast episode out right now, which is about. I initially called it trouser closures, but that's not what belts are, because that's a separate thing. But yeah, we're
Fasteners? What do
talking
you call
about belts. We're
Michael
talking
Fassbender.
about however else we hold up
Fassbender.
our pants, which includes side tabs,
Hands.
dax adjusters, cinch backs, and
Rope.
belts. And you guys can listen to the full podcast episode. It's out right now, all podcast platforms, for Spencer and Ethan's more detailed take on it. But I will open up the floor now to Spencer to moderate while I blow my nose.
Ethan fell through the floor.
He fell through the floor. This house has people in it.
Yep, exactly. But take it away, Spencer.
Okay, so of course, if you listen to the episode, well,
course.
Ethan explained all that. We in the episode did say our thoughts. So why don't we just start with?
Let's just do a live listen.
Let's just listen to the episode.
We'll wait for you to listen to it.
Well,
and
no,
then
everyone needs to listen to it separately, download and listen to boost our numbers. So we're all going to silently listen to our own thing.
Don't forget to write 5
This is like
stars.
Yeah,
this
we're
is
gonna
like when
sync it up
Letterman's
with- we're gonna
last
sync-
show was on,
exactly.
and you're just like, go watch Letterman.
Just go watch
We'll
Letterman.
be here.
Yeah, and we're gonna just tell everyone in the audience how to sync it up, and that's how we're all gonna listen to
Yep.
it together.
Reaction.
No, but yeah, we talked about all that stuff already. So MJ, why don't you tell us? Have you always worn belts? Because it's like I also want to know, because it's like
Been a belt boy.
I feel like there's like guys, and I don't know if this is just like a high school thing or if this is a thing that still goes on. I feel like there's a lot of guys who just like in California who just don't wear belts.
Yeah.
So
I just want to say, because it's like one of those things where you watch Real Men, Real Style, Alpha M. It's like, oh, if your pants fit really well, doesn't matter if it's jeans or trousers, you don't gotta wear a belt. So I feel like, but it's like one of those things where, oh, because they told me, I'm just not gonna wear a belt.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then they also wear the thick ass, ugly ass belts.
But what do normal people wear?
Anson belts with a little click ass, like
Lick ass.
Oh, fuck.
Fucking yee ass clicks.
No, see, my
Yes, belt.
go-to outfit of like the college student is like the slim jogger, pretty much skinny jogger, and which would not need any belts. And then they have whatever, like a t-shirt,
Soft J.
jogger, soft J,
hard
as
are they,
Philip
bro?
Gregar would say. Yeah. So anyway, MJ, what do you think? What I found?
I wore, well, at least in high school, I wore a belt most of the time. Even if I didn't like tuck in my shirt, I didn't tuck in my shirt during high school. But
Does Ethan have an Ethan VTuber persona on? We wish.
not yet. Not
It
yet.
would be
gonna make one
hilarious if I could have young or old Ethan as a VTuber skin. I could just be old Ethan.
There you go. You gotta.
could do like a
We'll teach you how to use Blender.
yeah. We'll make like a 3D render of old
I
Ethan.
prefer juicer.
Or no, we could have. Can we just do something where you just get like one of those like really cheap deep fakes where you just kind of like animate the mouth to
A
move?
cheap fake.
a cheap fake, you know.
Yeah.
Fake.
Just
That's
talk to the
what you'd like to
Mandalorian
do.
people. I think they got
Or
one.
can you do
Like what they
like
did, Conan O'Brien.
what was that old like 60s cartoon like where it
You have
was,
to
like,
narrow it down.
yeah, the anime, like the people didn't move, only their mouths moved. Like that
The
was the only.
Flintstones.
It was like
Oh,
static
the-
images, and they just had like the mouths move. That's what we could
Like
do.
like
if you think.
the
Like-
pirate at the beginning of SpongeBob.
Yeah, or the annoying orange is another
Oh.
example of that, I guess.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
So the
I went
Snapchat
back.
filter of Ethan.
Yeah, that's what it
Like
is.
the South Park.
R.I.P.
have to use
R.I.P.
real-
Okay, yeah. So MJ, historically,
But yes,
yeah.
worn or been wearing belts since high school.
Have you worn anything other than belts? Do you ever have you ever worn suspenders?
Some twine.
No,
Okay.
No, what a flex.
shoelaces.
Oh.
Shoelace.
Yeah. Do you like side tabs or anything like that, or do you prefer to stay? Or do you like me prefer the comfort?
Or do you
of
like him?
belts?
And Aldous,
I mean-
shout out Aldous.
I do now, because I actually own them now.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say I like it.
Yeah.
Mix it up a little bit. Cool feature to wear.
It is a cool feature.
But you didn't, MG, you never had the whole, like, oh, but I wear clip-on suspenders with stuff?
No, no, never.
Yeah, that's a real flex, because
I think because I saw them on other people, like in
Even.
my high
You
school,
can maybe.
and
You could call them out.
no, because I didn't
Say
like them, so it's like
I didn't like.
it's
them.
like another
person.
level of hey, now I don't like what you're wearing. So
Well, because we went, because I mean, I don't know, it was before I met Spencer, but like the whole, like Dapper Day hype beast kind of combination where guys wore like at church or like today or dates, Gatsby, whatever, they would wear like a dark shirt, with like black pants and then the clip-on suspenders, and I remember like when I
sounds
was
like
getting
any
into-
homecoming dance or prom.
Yeah, I do exactly. But then, like, you saw it like on college people too. Every time they were like, every
Yeah.
time you had to dress up, that it wasn't
dressing up.
a like business thing. Guys would wear that because it's like, oh, I'm dressing up, but it's fun, right?
Yeah.
And I know that I fell into that trap a little bit. Like, I wore like a bow tie with like a H&M jacket and like Cheetos or jeans with like a dark shirt and then like the suspenders because I thought, oh, that's cool. Also, like classy, right? Like, I don't need a belt to hold it up. I'm wearing the clip-ons. But it's also like people would give them to me because they thought, oh, Ethan's a dapper guy. For his birthday, we'll give him clip-on suspenders. Because I was like, because no one had like the regular ones, right? Like that was like a thing. It's like, like
No one had
you
real
go to the
suspenders.
mall. H&M's not going to give you ones with buttons because their pants don't come with the suspender buttons inside, right?
None do.
Mhm.
So
And well, I'll just say while we're talking about clip-on suspenders, obviously, because people aren't wearing, like you guys talk about on the podcast, like high-cut, roomy, wide-legged pants. They'd be wearing their like low-rise, skinny-fit pants with suspenders. So you get everyone hiking already pretty slim pants up even more into their grundle, and then just giving lots of the stresses and just like, oh, it was a bad look.
I call my testicles
I
shirts a
think-
steak because they're always separated.
I didn't even. I never. I think I've.
I want
only
to storm
worn
that capital.
clip-on suspenders once, and that was before I cared about clothing and was just dressing up for a nerd thing. Because by the time I started caring about clothing, I was like, I'm never gonna wear clip-on suspenders. Like if I don't
Right.
have
I
if I
hate
don't
them.
have the
Right.
button,
No,
if I
they're
don't have the
awful.
buttons in there, I'm not gonna wear them. And so I put buttons.
And they always
fucking
come
everything.
off.
I have a quick question for Kiyoshi. I know because Kiyoshi, you were blogging during the main days. Did you ever fall into that trap of the whole hashtag menswear wearing clip-on suspenders with otherwise
No,
classic clothing?
You avoided that.
no. So you dodge one bullet, but you get hit by another.
Oh, no.
So yeah, I never really got into
Warzone.
wearing a bunch of suspenders,
It's a movie.
clip on or button in. So I never did that. But my thing was belts, and I had a bunch of those like preppy ribbon belts, which you get
Okay.
one. Okay, it's fine, but
Right.
you don't need those. You don't need a bunch of search ankles. You don't need a bunch of what are those like canvas web belts. I bought just a bunch of just like really dumb belts. And
Right.
yeah, it was just like a poor decision. granted, I don't think it's as bad looking back seeing. You don't look at a fit of mine from that era and think, oh, boy, I'm glad he's not wearing some doofy suspenders. And I don't think you really notice the belts as much as you would a suspender, but the belts don't add to the outfit. I'll just say that much.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you shot right. I'd much take those belts over having the fucking clip-on suspenders. The like skinny ones too. They were so slim, so tiny in width.
I mean, it's Scott,
clips.
right? But yeah, no. As David says here, Alan C. And the Armory guys used to wear them a lot. There was like a phase of #menswear in like the 2010s or like maybe even like 2015 or whatever. Where
Liverano. Yeah, Liverano's to blame for that because he was the one that had his branded clip-on suspenders.
That's right.
And I guess he doesn't feel like selling buttons. And I mean, it's a great old man kind of pant thing. I feel like
because they just buy them because they just need them,
Yeah. It just
get yourself a pair of those and a trucker hat. And you're set.
A WM Brown trucker hat.
I wasn't going to say it, but
Verano.
He was.
My bad.
Yeah, I remember like there was like a couple early episodes, early like threads that I saw on Male Fashion Device where a guy was like open question, like, why do these guys spend so much money on bespoke trousers that are supposed to fit them like perfectly, and yet they ruin them by like clip-on suspenders? And I mean, I didn't even know why they did it. Even like B and Taylor had them too. Like a lot of guys would do that. Like Ambrosi, wear their Ambrosi trousers with fucking clip-on suspenders. Never really understood that. But yeah, I also was like, as soon as I realized that like clip-on suspenders were like really tacky and that button-on was better. Also like getting into vintage because like in vintage you don't wear clip-on suspenders.
Of course not. You would never do that.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though
it's button suspenders and beating my wife.
Clip-on suspenders have been
and a wife
around
beater
for a very long time. I think they were pretty popular in the 1920s as like a convenience thing.
So was I though.
Yeah,
you were popular in the 1920s as a convenience thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
But like back then, 1920s, like the trousers, like they wouldn't get damaged from it because they were so like the wool was so thick.
They were like really hardy. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
thick wool.
I mean, maybe you could use that argument for like the Armory ones. I don't think these it's like one of those things where like they say like, oh, don't pocket fist because the fabric will start to like drag or to.
I hate those people. Like, oh, but then your pockets don't look nice. And I'm like, they're pockets. What do you want me to do?
And it doesn't. I mean,
it in my pockets. That's why I have them.
Shit. Right. I mean, we've had
for all my shit.
I mean, it does happen. We're not gonna say it doesn't, but like it's so like unless you're like really abusing it, just like with clip-on suspenders, I don't think you'll ruin the waistband.
And hey, maybe like a bunch of little like kind of worn out spots on your waistband that's sprezzatura. So
yeah, exactly.
The line of what is and what isn't sprezzatura.
His Albert Thurston braces came with removable clips. Once I got a pair of braces suspenders that were like the button-on kind. And they had the clip, but the clip was not removable. So it was just
no.
It like just looked terrible. I don't understand why they did that, but
you know what is funny is that one time I was at Dapper Day and I saw a guy explaining, it's like a thing that me and Spencer used to do, like, oh, you see who's like wearing real suspenders, clip on versus button in. And I saw a guy wearing button on suspenders, but it wasn't buttoned. He had tied the metal loop into his belt loops. Because he didn't, he doesn't know. He just wants to look, right? He doesn't care.
So he just tied the leather buttonholes in a knot.
Into a knot onto his.
It's insane.
That's sprezzatura.
That's sprezzatura.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, that guy style god.
More than
sprezzatura right there.
That guy was Bob Dylan.
He was Bob Dylan.
That man, Albert Einstein.
Yeah.
Albert Einstein was there.
But what about like side tabs? Like, is that your guys' prefer? Because like again, like I said in like my blog post and everything, I love side tabs. I want the drape with suspenders. Because again, I think we agreed in the blog post that suspenders are like in theory the best way, right? Because they don't have any tension on the waist and they help your pants like suspend from like a normal angle. And as you move throughout the day, it doesn't need adjusting because it's being suspended by like your shoulders. But so side tabs are kind of like the way to get around that. But of course, it's never going to like stay exactly where they want it because there's no tension other than like the pull tabs, right? So you're always constantly having to like adjust or whatever.
And you always want.
I will
always
say,
want tension.
Yeah.
It makes things interesting.
You need that tension. It makes you, compelled to continue. But
Yeah.
I will say that John and I, we talked about this with John a while ago, in the great debate between the side tabs and the belts, and because he just kept making all this great shit, all this great tailoring that had like belt loops, and just it's that look when you have a high rise pant, you have a long fly, and then that little tiny belt buckle just right at the top of the belt loops, and just you have the jacket. It's a really, really solid and nice look. Having said it, I don't know that if I ever, the next time I get custom tailoring, I don't think I could morally get belt loops with it. Like, I think I would have to get the side tabs, But for all other casual pants, the score bit denim and cords and everything like that, I think you're just using the belt loop for that. I think that's fine to get that kind of look. But for like a suit, like a new suit, it's just easier. I don't have huge issues with like the side tabs like not holding up or the hiking, like it all happens, but that it's not a huge
because you'll have to do that with belts anyway.
No, the belts, that's not really an issue. So I guess like for like suits, side tabs are nice. But as a rule, I wouldn't have everything side tab. It's nice to have the more casual options in the belt loops available.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm into that same kind of thing. I mean, even Spencer, right? All of your you don't have a lot of custom pants, but like, it's nice to have side tabs with custom trousers. It just feels right to me. Again, maybe it's because like all of my belt loop pants are like not just like casual, but like they're like workwear or they're milsurp wear.
Because if you are getting it custom, then it makes sense where you'd want it. Okay, I don't want to have to wear a belt with this. And also,
and I don't feel limited by fabric, where it's like a Drake's had their like wide whale suit in that like mustard, and they had side tabs initially with that and those like prong style or whatever. I thought that still looked good. So even if it's a little bit thicker, I don't. It has to be a belt loop. I think you have options, and they all work.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I don't know. It's also like a very like because I mean, in general, right? You're not going to be commissioning a custom pair of military pants. Like that's not. No. You could, but like that's not something that you normally would think about, right? So like if you're going to get something that's tailored, where suits again are the thing that's most common to be custom made. It helps that you have side tabs. Like. I think that with tailoring, you don't want as much of a contrast, especially like a full suit. Like, and contrast, I mean by the visual bisecting of your body by a belt. And we'll argue that later on about how even if that's even a case.
And if you disagree with us, then I hope you get a non figurative bisecting by a knife.
Yeah, a butter knife.
Yeah,
take nice and long.
But yeah, I don't know. It makes sense that you would, to me in my head, right? Like you're getting a custom suit, you want it to be sleek. Doesn't matter if it's wide leg or slim, whatever. But like side tabs kind of just make sense. And again, side tabs can be anything. Like you could do no side tabs, just like a beltless or side tabless trouser that just fits. You could have a cinch back if that's what you want. Self belt, I think, is kind of a fun like way to get around that.
Self belt is like super cool. If I might do a
self belt book.
On a future custom commission.
Americans love them.
Yeah, Pamela, right? Pamela trousers. That's kind of like the house style for the armory for Pamela, right? And even Taylor Payne.
And Pamela trousers.
But yeah, I think it kind of just makes sense, and I like, wearing like even any kind of like shirt. I think looks good tucked in without a belt. I think that's why I'm like okay with like easy pants, and we can also get into that later on too. I don't know, but Jason, so why do you like side tabs? Because you just mentioned like you always get them.
I just prefer. I think it looks cleaner because I'm not a big belt boy. I'm not a big BB. So for me, having belt loops on pants doesn't make any sense. I don't even own a belt. I don't own any belts.
Wow.
I did the whole suspenders thing for a little while, but then like it eventually sort of like, wearing suspenders all day, it just like it wears on your shoulders. And
that's true.
it gets. I don't know. I feel like you can't really look very slouchy or very. A big part of my whole aesthetic is this whole like, DIY kind of approach to things. So it's like, why am I spending so much time putting fucking suspenders on when I could?
It takes a lot of confidence to wear.
When I could just throw pants on and leave.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And the whole idea that like, if I put suspenders on, putting suspenders into pants is just a task. And then never mind if you have to like use the bathroom.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's the big downside.
And honestly,
especially if you're layering.
Right.
But then the move is you just undo the back ones, and then you're usually fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But then, and it's just like, and then okay, if it's like summertime, I take my jacket off. Then I'm just that asshole wearing suspenders and like a dress shirt.
Mm-hmm.
Like a fucking
barber, right?
In some like middle America barber shop that tries to be fancy.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
Yeah, that's a good roast. That's a good roast on barbers in middle America.
When we mean barber jacket.
Yeah.
No, he means Barbar the elephant.
I do. Collab coming soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the side tab just gives a cleaner line to the front, I think, especially, with like, you feel like an extended waistband where, you button a little bit further off. I think it looks really nice and clean.
Nice and clean.
Nice and clean. And that's what I like when it comes to like the look of tailoring. I like everything afterward to be sort of disheveled.
Yeah.
I don't iron anything, so.
You're not Iron Man.
I also like the idea that when you take off the jacket, having the side tab just feels better than having suspenders on. I used to kind of like the look where like you're disheveled with suspenders, like it feels like a very like 30s, 40s like guy after work kind of a thing. But then you're still, or not still, you are that guy wearing suspenders.
Yeah, exactly. You're just that guy wearing suspenders without a jacket, and it sort of has this. It gives off this sort of arrogance that I don't like.
Right.
And I mean, I'm an arrogant
quote unquote
person.
different.
I'm very arrogant, but like,
well, because I mean, it's like
you don't want to tell people that.
We talk a lot about like being intentional and how that's cool, but at the same time with suspenders, that I don't know. I feel like it can sometimes distract from a look. If it
distracts from everything else.
Yeah, in a way that that just a belt or side tabs don't.
Right.
I think
I'd wear a belt again before suspenders.
Kiyoshi, go ahead.
I was just saying, like, I think like suspenders. The problem is you wear suspenders, and the first adjective that comes to everyone's mind is dandy.
Yeah,
dandy, dapper,
or dapper, or dumb, and
the 3 Ds.
So, the 3 or dork. Yeah, there's no good adjectives that can describe about suspenders.
Urkel.
So like
right.
I just kind of that's my problem with them, and as far as like belt versus side tabs, I've slowly come over to all things side tabs, just because my current belts were bought when I was 2 inches thinner in the waist. So now any new garments I get that are pants, I'm definitely buying them with side tabs, just because I don't feel like buying new belts. So it's really more out of
new belt. Who this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like at this point, with my whole like style, I would only wear the real suspenders with black tie, like because that's frankly that's what I need to wear, because to hold those pants up. But
there's something really cool about like black tie with like not suspenders that really does it for me.
Yeah, that's true.
I kind of like it with suspenders actually.
Without suspenders,
when I do get
short pants,
I'd probably also get suspenders too. But it's nice without.
I do like having the option, especially when the buttons are kind of like out of the way, like they're hidden. But I just like having options. That's why I added suspender buttons to all my pants that also had belt loops, like in high school. Because
same thing. I did that too.
Can we take a moment to
Well,
shit
I
on the
just
wrong
like
kind of
the-
side tabs? Like the stupid
sure.
kind?
What are the
All
stupid
right,
kind?
don't get them. Any
Okay.
type that's not the normal pull. You know,
Oh,
like
are
the
you-
button one.
Yeah.
You don't like DAX adjusters?
No. Although I have to
Dax
say, I
Shepard?
think one of Dax Shepard.
Yes,
I
a podcast.
think one or two of the suits Dave gave me has some, and I have to admit they're not too bad. But I mean, just as like a visual aesthetic, what you prefer, like to see, like those other ones are just so good. But yeah, don't get that one.
I actually like DAX side adjusters because they remind me of like a mid-century look, because they were pretty popular like the 50s and 60s. You know.
Oh, really?
I kind of go the opposite direction. They remind me of like some really bad Men's Warehouse runs I had to wear once.
Oh, really?
Like these pants can fit anyone from a 31 to a 35 waist. It's like
Just buy pants. Just buy the right size.
I'm like,
Please.
I'm like, oh.
Or
That's why I
don't
like them.
don't go to the event.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't join.
Well,
I think the extra buttons
was my
make
best friend
the
from high
waistband
school,
look
so-
cumbersome.
Is that
Interesting.
cummerbund pun?
So like too busy and everything.
Yeah, because again,
cummerbund,
I think when it comes like the side tab when it's like a pull, right? You have like the extra piece of fabric and then the little bit of metal and then the more fabric. With the buttons, like the buttons seem a little intrusive
Hmm.
Yeah,
to me at least.
like a
Right.
And
coin
it's one of
pocket.
those things where it's like an extra thing that I feel didn't have to be there, and it sort of goes along with what Kiyoshi was saying with the suspenders. It becomes a sort of like, oh, it's dandy, or it's
But then the
dapper.
pull is more
I
simple.
just think it's a little bit childish because like you see that shit on like kids suits.
Yeah,
that
like
is
little
true.
boys.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what size are you in your pants today, you little Charlie? And
Is that how you talk to your
like,
clients?
That's
You're
how we
big
talk
man,
to
you're
the
a
clients.
small boy.
That's how you talk to
fitting.
people at Men's Warehouse.
Yeah.
Oh, you got your
Well,
pants.
that's actually kind of interesting though, because like workwear jackets have like those things in the back, like those like
Right,
trucker
I don't work
jackets have
But
like a
not on
button
pants.
thing.
It's different than pants, though. It's
Yeah.
I get that, but I don't know. Like to me, it's like, okay, well, if they can do it, so can this, you know. So like, I don't know. I mean, I'm not one to talk. I have like one pair of trousers that have the like the elastic side adjusters, and they were on my green flannel Polo Ralph Lauren trousers, and I like them. I think they're really cool, especially if the waistband is like small. I think that's kind of like the way it works. Like if you have like a traditional waistband and also like if your trousers aren't high waisted and you have the side like those button tabs, I think that looks stupid. But like when they're high and the waistband is thin, so that the pull tabs are smaller, I think that's pretty cool.
Did I send you guys that picture of the low rise Gurkha pants I found on Instagram?
Yes.
I don't think I saw those.
Oh, no.
Oh man, I probably can't find it now,
I'm
but
barfing.
apparently I
thinking about that.
sent them. Kiyoshi saw it, so yeah, they were like
remember.
super low.
Oh, I remember.
Like,
I
work?
looked at that Instagram that they was.
What's
came
the
from for a
point?
bit. It's really weird.
Oh,
What's
no.
the point?
I mean,
Disgusting.
like Gurkha. I mean, we had a whole stream on like the Gurkha pant itself, and like, God, like I can't imagine like they just feel so uncomfortable. You know, I think they look cool, but like in terms of the poop and the peeing, you're gonna have to. I mean, you know,
The poo-poo pee-pee.
the poo poo and the pee pees.
There's
Well,
too
because
much of
okay,
both.
okay, wait. Well, on this topic, what's
if
a
you're in a
Gurkha?
rush, they're not fun.
A Gurkha, that's a very noticeable short. Like you're gonna stick out. Wearing suspenders, that's a very noticeable trouser snatch, whatever the fuck you call it.
Trouser
But like
snatch.
a belt, a trouser snatch.
where's that gorgeous red snatch?
Jesus.
No.
Give me that snatch. Da-da-da-da-da. I'm loving snatch. But I think just having like shorts and a belt, you know, just it's like no one's gonna care. No one's gonna notice. And in a way, it's nice to kind of be under the radar and not have a Gurkha. What if they had Gurkhas with like suspenders? Like, what is that outfit? Especially if it's a Gurkha short.
That's bad.
That's like you have to go to jail.
Bad outfit.
Go to jail.
How
You
about-
go to
And then you
$200.
also have
No stimulus.
the sock garters. Gotta have those.
sock garters,
I wanna
and
shoot
the
them.
sock garters also have to attach to your shirt so they stay tucked in.
Exactly. They
Yeah.
just-
Socks stay up,
fucking shirt
shirt stays tucked in.
I really wonder if at
And the
like
pussy
that
flops.
influential whatever
Virgin.
shit, like because they love wearing suspenders, like oh, it's a manly way to keep up your pants. I wonder if there is a guy wearing like all three together. You know what I mean? Like,
That man is
the
being
trifecta.
so like when you do that though, it's like those medieval torturing when you're getting stretched in all different directions.
Oh god.
It's
Yeah.
just for your clothes.
Their limbs just like pop off, like they just like fly off in different directions.
yeah, like I
that.
feel like if he undid one of them, he would like get slapped by his own.
Oh my god! Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
Go ahead, Kiyoshi.
I was gonna say like going to like an airport and going through like TSA with all these suspender things on your body and trying to be dapper as fuck and like
Man.
having suspenders on your pants, suspenders on your socks, suspenders for your shirt.
Can you imagine like your sock garter, shirt garter thing? It's so much. I have so much.
Oh, I have to. You just have to remove all these pieces of metal from you, and like
Yeah.
people are
Oh my
staring
God.
at you like, look at this
Oh,
nerd
wait.
with
I
eight
was
pieces of suspenders on
literally
his body.
I was at the airport and they had to pat me down because I was like going to like fucking
wearing
England
a
and I
chastity
was
belt?
wearing rail suspenders,
That's
like a
happened to me
puffy
before. Yeah.
shirt and then like a vest. And so yeah, my arms were out away as the guy was going through. It was so embarrassing.
No,
Oh
one
my
time
God.
one time I was wearing my like Levi's like 33s through through like, you know, the scanner and it picked up the suspender buttons. Or it wasn't even my
The clip.
Levi's. It was just like a pair of pants with suspender buttons and it picked up the suspender buttons like as an object. Like
now
they
you're
were
on the
just
list.
like
And now you're on the no-fly list and labeled as a
well,
domestic
no, I'm on the
terrorist.
no-fly list because I was at the Capitol. So
Oh,
Yeah, because of the beard.
yeah,
unrelated.
Allegedly.
unrelated. This is a
Allegedly.
Well, like, can you
Allegedly.
imagine like your sock garter and that attaches to your shirt? That one of those like it like snaps off and just fucking flings you right, right in the testicles.
I think that's why they were designed. It's
And
like
then you
natural
have to
selection.
explain to someone, "Oh,
It's just
sorry,
like a
my
doctor.
sock garter just snapped me."
Anytime you get to the bedroom and you have to undo all of that.
You're black and
Bruise
blue
my
down there and
testes.
seeing a doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor's like, how'd this
Hi,
happen?
I'm Bruce Matestes.
Well, you know how you wear sock garters.
And you know,
No,
and at
you
the
started
same
it's like,
time,
don't you
your
hate
shirt
how
comes
your
ever so
shirt gets
slightly
untucked throughout the day? Well, what if I told you
Anytime
there was a
those guys-
solution?
Anytime those guys came into Brooks Brothers, where they're like, "Oh, I know," like they showed me pictures. Oh, do you have these? The collar stays. They're like the QAnon of the like menswear buyer. They're just like, "Oh, I have this great thing. It's gonna change the nation." Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
Out of my
mother
life.
of pearl collar stays. Why do you need that? Get out.
Why do you
yeah,
throw away
just
your
dress
collar
better.
stays, guys? Just throw them in the trash.
Collar stays are
yeah,
bad.
along with yourself.
Yeah, throw yourself and them in the trash.
In that order.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the whole shirt coming untucked a little bit. Don't get it. Don't subscribe
It's
to
a
it.
good look. Here's the deal.
Also,
I
like, if it comes
wear
undone, just fix it. You know,
I
Like,
wear the
Fix it,
Kamakura
dummy.
Slim Fit, and then this fix it dummy, and the Milano Fit shirt. I'm still fine with those. Like, I don't think, oh, this is like a really skinny fit shirt. But yeah, having like the looser fit with the high rise, like it works. It's fine. There's no need to bicker about having like, oh, a little bit of puff. That's
I
the
think
look.
the problem there is the pants were too. People's pants were too low, and their shirts
Yeah.
weren't long enough. So like didn't have any extra like to move. So like it would always come intact. And now
Well, that'd be better if it was like
now their
shorter, like
testicles are
untuck
bleeding
it length.
because they were snapped.
Oh, what
So
an
the
image!
testicles are already under pressure from such tight pants that, and there's a lot of things wrong with the whole scenario.
I think
Yeah. Russia.
They
untucking
created a problem.
Untucking
Yeah,
should,
not the
like,
solution.
Get into like other
Untuck it.
things. Like they should make like shorts where your balls hang out or something.
so shorts.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Ralph Lauren already invented that.
They come with a prop. They give you balls
They
that
give-
hang out.
Yeah, they get
They
like truck
give you
nuts
balls.
that are like attached to it.
I would buy those so fast.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
I feel like that could be something
and-
at Spencer's Gifts, or like, you know, like shorts with little balls sewn into them.
But like tuxedo shorts.
Yeah.
You know, you wear it to
So
like
it has
black
a stripe
tie.
on the side.
What is
Yeah.
happening?
We're talking
I
about the
think
perfect
this is very
scenario.
valuable.
Derailed here.
Yeah.
Speaking of rail suspenders.
What were we talking about? Bee headwear?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
let's
Butts
shift over to actual belts here, because I'm not sure if I said this in the podcast, but I think that one reason why I wore suspenders like early on in my menswear journey is because I had like a lot of shitty belts, and I think at that time, right, I was getting into vintage menswear. And the thing is, with suspenders, they work for both, right? Like, oh, just sew in buttons for your modern pants, and then you have buttons in your vintage trousers. So, like, oh, like suspenders will work. But then, like belts, it was kind of like that thing where you need a thin belt to be like vintage styling with a belt, because they're not going to wear like a 2-inch belt or like a work belt with a suit. Right. I mean,
well, even some of those like Hollywood ride or drop whatever, like they had the thinner belt loops. Like you couldn't wear like a bigger belt with some of them, right? Like it had to be almost a thin belt to get through.
Yeah, if you have that, but like 30s trousers had normal belt loops.
I feel like 30s and 40s, those are the ones where I'm like, oh, my belts are a little bit too thick for these.
I mean, it just didn't look right.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, some people you do have some pictures of people, especially like European ones, where they're wearing like a thick belt with like a suit, because that's like the one belt they had or whatever.
Outside the belt loop.
Yeah, but for me, it's like I just didn't think about belts because I just couldn't find the ones that I liked. Right, and again, it's something I totally forgot about. But like, I did get like a 40s or 50s belt from what was it called? Paper Moon Vintage. But just like with shoes, it was like a very light tan or light brown color. And as I started to get more and more into vintage and classic menswear, it's like, okay, like the contrast is just too much. Like they're not that dark brown color. Like it's just unseemly. And I think I still have it, or I don't know if I gave it to MJ. Did I give that to you?
Which one?
It's like a tan, like a light tan belt.
I think so.
Well, there you go. It's over there now. But yeah, I never really got
asked and answered.
MJ.
Yeah, everything I don't really wear goes to MJ. But yeah, I like the thin belts, and then nowadays, I got that vintage belt I referred to in the podcast, and I wear that with everything, and then it's cool to see that kind of not come back, but become more popular. Like the guys at Bryson's always like thin belts. You look at like those Sid Mashburn pictures that I put in there with like the alligator or the reptile skin belt. I think those look really cool, but they're also kind of thin. It just kind of worked out that okay, guys like wearing thin belts, and it also just looks nicer because it evokes that that mid-century charm, even if your pants don't have Hollywood waist trousers. But yeah, what do you guys think, Jason? Did you ever? I mean, I know you wear side ties, but do you like thin belts?
I like the look of thin belts for sure. You see it a lot. Obviously, I see it a lot from you guys, and even I see it a lot in my Lord and Savior Edward Sexton. He does it a lot, and the thin belt looks great, especially with the Hollywood waistband, and even with any sort of waistband as well. So I just haven't really found any belts in person that I like. I don't like. I'm not a big online shopper because I get super nervous. I get it gives me anxiety to buy things online.
Well, then download Honey. It'll save you a lot of money.
That's true. That is true. Not sponsored. But I mean, there's I see you guys wear a lot of cool thin belts, and I do want to get a nice maybe a thin maybe a Western style belt or a braided belt perhaps.
Braided belts are cool. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to make a pair of Hollywood waistband trousers, which looks like something I might be able to do. Which would be cool. And maybe make that sort of a standard thing on a lot of my stuff. But we'll see.
Good. That would be sick.
Mm-hmm.
But I do like thin belts. I definitely think they're cool.
What about you, Kiyoshi?
So back before I went to all side tabs, I was wearing 2 gator belts that were 1-inch straps with the engine turn belt buckle that was monogrammed. So
sick.
Yeah, and sadly, I may have to buy new ones, which is pricey now. So I was wearing those for a long time. I'm a big fan of that kind of like slide belt look. But now I've been wearing, the only time I really wear belts now is with my jeans, and I have this pony hair kind of tip set belt. Not a complete Western belt. It's a little more streamlined, but I wear that quite a bit, and it's definitely also a little bit thinner. It starts out at probably like maybe 1 3/8, and then or 1 1/4, and then goes down to like an inch or so. I would probably get one of those in brown next. But yeah, I prefer a little bit thinner belt. I'm not really big on super chunky, thick belts. And one of the criticisms I have of most guys' belt wardrobes is they buy two belts. They buy a black belt and they buy a brown belt. They buy them at the same time, the same store from the same maker. And they just think they're done buying belts for the rest of their life.
Right.
And they wear it with their chinos, they wear it with their suit, and often it's too big for the belt loops on the suit. They're like straining to put this belt through there. And they wear it with the jeans. And they buy it too wide and too big. And they buy one belt for everything. Don't do that. It's a bad idea. Buy a nice dress belt for your suit. Or, buy a thicker, more rugged belt for your jeans and workwear chinos. Separation of church and state.
Exactly.
Like my testicles.
You got to have belt variety for good belt.
What is so when you guys think about like thin belts, you guys think is that like 1 inch, right?
1 inch.
Yep.
I'd say
1
around
inch.
an inch, yeah.
Pretty much. I think that's pretty much the width of my belts.
Yeah, I like wearing my thin dress belts with my jeans, but that's because I tend to wear like more tailored looks with my jeans anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but the thing is, I've since supplemented with like more casual belts. Like I got like Western belts now, Gator or Gator-esque belts that work better with like just jean or chino only looks that are but that don't have a sport coat or whatever.
I mean, belts can be a big deal in an outfit. There's been a lot of times. There's been a lot of times when I've put on an outfit and be like, no, this belt doesn't go with it. I have to change it. It's just something.
Mhm.
Oh, that's interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah,
Do you guys subscribe to any of the belt rules?
I smash that like button.
I don't know.
I don't know what that is.
Like you match
So,
leather? Is that what you're talking about, or what?
I guess.
Match them to things, or you don't wear black with navy or whatever. I don't know what the bullshit is.
No, I mean the only belt rule I follow is I guess I just match my leathers, but I don't go like overboard and be like, oh, this is not like the perfect shade or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's.
You mean
like
you
the
don't buy
only
your
one I
belts and your shoes at the same time?
No, and I don't go into J. Crew or Men's Warehouse with a pair of shoes in my hand and say, oh, I need a belt for this.
Oh man,
I don't do that.
God,
Yeah.
fuck those people.
Now, where are you guys finding these belts? Mainly on eBay.
The only belts that I usually wear, I got one from Target, got one women's belt from J. Crew, and as of last week, I got a Western belt from a Western wear store in Arizona.
Ooh.
What was it called?
I think it was called Western Outfitters.
Oh my god!
Is that where you went? In Williams?
Yeah, in Williams.
Yeah, it's a cool place, right? It's nice.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that's where I got my cowboy cuts, and
there you go.
And my girlfriend got a hat. Yeah,
Okay.
Western Outfitters, man, in Williams.
Yeah, it's a good store.
They
We
are
stayed in Williams.
Oh, you stayed in Williams? That's such a charming little town. Every building was either a brothel or a opium den, according to all the plaques in town, which is pretty cool. I think it's a cool town.
Yeah, it was cool. It was cool. It's super small, super cool.
Very small.
Literally like a blip on the highway.
Mm-hmm. They have a big thing. It's like we were the last city to be bypassed by the I-40 or whatever. It's like, oh, cool.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Speaking of bisecting.
Yeah.
Bisexual.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think eBay is a great source for like a lot of vintage, like thin belts. This is something that Spencer and I do, where like we just kind of type in vintage like Western belt or whatever. And then we can tell by looking at it if it's going to be thin enough, right? And then if it looks thin, we'll click on it, and then we'll make sure that it's not like oh, this is actually a 2-inch belt, and like, oh shit, fuck that, But yeah, I think it's pretty good. Like I looked up again, I said this on the pod. Like I looked at like Brighton belts because I was at a consignment store, Second Street, which is like a Japanese consignment store, and they happen to have like this Westerns themed woven belt with like and like the buckle was kind of like deco-y, elongated kind of thing, which is what I really like. Because I've been getting into slide belts, so like very like deco-y is the way to go. But I got that for like $10 or less than that, and so I've been looking at Brighton belts on eBay. It looks like they're like an 80s, 90s brand. Some of them are really shitty looking, or at the very least, very like loud. Like there's like a 2-tone metal one with like gold and like silver and like the lots of weird decorations or whatever on them. But I think that if you find like a calm one, that's pretty good. I know that Polo RL has made some of me. That's where the engine turned belt I got from Kyoshi is from. But again, I'm about to launch into it. But Scoop says, "Why are Western belts cool, or why do we think they're cool?" It's one of those things where it's like the 70s, right? Like I mean, the 70s.
Yeah, who doesn't want to be a cowboy, man? Freedom of the West.
I said this a couple of times where like cowboys have been like the coolest thing, like because it's
that's like our American like archetype or whatever. That's like a very uniquely American thing, the cowboy.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Just
kind of Mexican too.
And I'm of the belief the cowboy and the farmer
southwest region of North America.
It bleeds over.
Yeah, okay. You think cowboys wouldn't wear them? So this is where the blog post comes into, where like they had dress belts with Western themes because, and then like there's a couple of illustrations.
Like when we're talking about Western belts, a lot of Western wear is not really what cowboys would have worn. It's what the people after civilization had come to the West, but still like to pretend that they were cowboys. That's what they were wearing. Real cowboys their pants didn't have belt loops because that wasn't really a thing until like after World War One. Or like at least
their pants have
like the
because it's one of those things where you want everything you own to be pointed to an aesthetic, right? And this is kind of where we're hinting at the next podcast episode, which will come out in 2 weeks. But it's like it's that can apply to belts too, right? Like it's it's like why you have a navy blazer, right? Like why is that cool? Like it's preppy, but that's what makes it cool. It's like a belt. Yeah, you can have a plain one, but it's cooler if you have something that points to something specific, and then you can either play into or subvert it. And there isn't really, I mean, we're talking about Western belts or whatever, but like I think that like like needlepoint ivy belts are kind of cool too, right? Or like web belts, like military web belts, those are cool too. But they don't have web belts and needlepoint belts aren't leather, and cowboy stuff or the Western theme belts are leather, and that makes it more practical to wear for because needlepoint and web belts don't age the same way leather does. So when you have it in Western style, it's like okay, it has an aesthetic and it's made in the quote correct fabric or material for a belt. So that's kind of why we're into it, and again,
I mean, it's just like different and like interesting. Like I really like the silver tipped ones, the belts with a little bit of silver on the end. And part of that is because I'm like, damn, that's kind of shiny. It looks cool. Like, it's like, it's as simple as that.
We like shiny things.
Yeah, for me, it's always like about the buckle itself because like most, like again, like the one in the blog post, like I have the Uniqlo like thin belt, which is again really great if you guys want to I don't know what exactly the name is of that belt. Because I looked it up, there's like a bunch of different ones. But the specific one I have, it's nice, it's thin, but like the buckle is so normal. Like it's like a rectangle. It's a little bit longer. It's not like a square or anything, which I don't like for most belts. But it's it's kind of normal. But then Western belts, you have like a sliding scale of how far it leans into it. Sometimes you have, like Spencer said, like you have like a regular leather belt. But the buckle and it will have like a kind of like a fun little I don't know, like the edge to it that you see on Western belts, and then you have like the metal tip. That instantly makes it different. You know,
I do like those like rounded ones.
Yeah, I like rounded belts too.
Yeah.
They gotta be like kind of ovular. Like I don't like
yeah.
David's saying here the double ring belts that don't use any punches.
Yeah, those are cool too.
kind of like those are nice. Unfortunately for me, this is just me, maybe, but like to me it reminds me of the Abercrombie belts that had that. Like but they're cloth belts, you know? And I just feel like those O-ring double ring belts are just a little too much in that vein. And they still don't have as much personality as like a leather belt, which involves a lot of the design in the buckle, the tip, and the leather itself. Yes. Because like the ones I have, like, you know, you could have the gator ones, or you have like literally like stamped like in those vintage 40s 50s ones, like they stamped like a design fucking like straight up on the belt. Yeah. You know, and those are weird.
And I'll also say, going back to the like, why are they cool? And this is, I think, a larger discussion. But with Western belts and a lot of clothing, it's I think the individual pieces look cool, but also what I think cool is like, I don't know, thinking about like where I've seen it before, like the people who wear it, or like the context and stuff like that.
Right.
So I think Western belts look cool, but when I see them, I'm not like, what a like beautiful belt. I'm like, okay, so this is like, I've seen this before on, you know, these outfits or on these people, and I thought it looked really cool there. So yeah, it's associated with cool people.
Right. And I also think too that Western belts today are closer to what the belts look like in the 40s and 50s than regular belts.
That's true. That's also true.
Like it's because like the thin Western belts are there. Again, the elongated, interesting buckle. Like not every belt in the 30s through the 50s or 60s had Western flair to them, but it just so happens that like the Il Michio belt with like again like the little like flourish design on like the keeper of the belt and everything, that's just what the vintage ones, like the vintage 30s and 40s ones look like to me. And I have one that you know, again like I showed you guys in the blog post, like it has that, and I don't think that the belt I got from the 40s 50s is inherently a Western belt, but it's just close to it, you know. It's kind of like why some guys today, this is a lot of topic, but like why like in the 70s people buy belt backs in the 70s that have like Western yokes, even though back in the 30s and 40s some suits had yokes and belt backs, but they weren't Western. That was just like a design detail. So it just kind of goes hand in hand like that. Wish we remembered that for our aesthetics thing, Spencer, but
yeah,
you know.
And I mean, the other cool thing about Western wear is, and you know, maybe we just need to have a big Western stream, is that's the only place today where you can get like kind of casual tailoring. That's the only place where it's like, okay, we're gonna take this traditional outfit but kind of make it more casual and fun, where it's like actually like a big industry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You know, Western suits, you know, Western shirts, I think, are, you know, because again, like when you look back at all those old catalogs and stuff, that's where they got some of those ideas. Like you see like spear point shirts with like flat pockets or like kind of Western-y designs. Because like, I mean, yeah, they liked the Western stuff. They had this idyllic view of the American West, and it's so inherent in our you know, American culture. But yeah, that's like the last bastion of like kind of classic clothing that still has interesting details.
Yeah.
Because you know, like, yeah, I mean, you talk about like the cowboy cuts, right? Like, you know, you go to H&M, you get jeans, you're not going to get that, you know, that classic high-waisted, you know, slightly tapered or whatever jean, but like, you know, those Wrangler cowboy cuts, like have them baked in, you know. Yeah. I don't think that like, to me, they look like, you know, like a classic like 60s jean to me, right? But no one is making like, oh, this is a 60s jean other than LVC. To get that look, you have to get the Wrangler cowboy cut, like, you know, overall. So it just works out that way. You know, I'm sure Spencer and I wouldn't have this conversation, or the rest of us, if these details were prevalent in other areas. But just so happens that Western wear is like the gateway to it. And bring it back to the topic, in terms of belts, like that's again the only way to do it, right? Like you don't see gator belts done really casual, like or widespread. But if you look up vintage Western belt, you'll see the embossed leather or gator stuff much more common, because it's exotic. This is what they did, you know? So, yeah.
Yeah.
But hopefully that answers Scoop's little thing there. I mean, again, it's all about like approximation, if like that's what you like really want. You just kind of gotta go Western,
Gotta go fast.
Go West, young man.
Go West, young man.
Yeah.
West Coast.
West Coast, more like worst coast.
But yeah, do you guys like what's your sliding scale of like a Western belt? Like what would be the ideal Western belt for you guys if that was one?
I don't know.
Yoshi, you said that you wanted to do
belts.
like a Western thing this year.
As a
You
cowboy
wanted to
hat.
get more into Western
Yeah,
wear. Do you already have like a Western belt?
The one I talked about, I'll take a photo of it and put it in Discord. But I do want to get maybe another pony hair belt. And I'm on this website for this American belt maker called W. Kleinberg. And I'm looking at all their belts right now. They have belts in Python, belts in Anaconda. They have belts made from sharks and bisons.
That's
so they got some really cool exotics. And now I'm just dreaming of belts I can make from dead animal skins. But
go through the animals.
Yeah,
let's run them down. What do we got?
Way it looks, I would love to get. I would love to find a like cowboy belt buckle. That I think would be really cool, but I haven't really seen one yet. That I think matches something I'd actually wear. I think that might take a while to find the right one. But
belt buckles can be tough because it's like I like them, but at the same time it's like they can also if you go too gaudy with it, it can be a little bit like 2000s hipster, like Yeah.
So I don't want it too obnoxiously big, but I feel like a little bit bigger than a normal belt. Just
that's my big thing.
Interesting, meaningful design with it. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like my big thing with like belt buckles is I don't want them to be big, or really anything. I just want like that rounded, that kind of that ovular kind of shape, and that's leave it at that.
Leave it at that,
maybe
guys.
like a little bit of
and leave it to be
a little bit of turquoise in the center or something. I don't know.
Right, and maybe it's because me as a
tasteful.
Yeah. And as like a personality, it's like I have, I don't need more things yelling at people. I'm already yelling at them wearing, what I wear.
You just yell at people,
and I yell at people vocally. So I don't need more. I don't need more things to like, pack it in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is the only belt I have. I got it from Brooks. It was like a kid's belt, but I had my issue of I needed a 28 size belt.
You're skinny.
And the rule is you have to get the two above, really, or one above. I guess you guys kind of debate in the pod, but I just got one right on the size at the time. But it still fits, and it's just black leather, and it has like the little rounded gold prong, and this is the only thing I really need. And basically, my only rule is to just not, if I'm like tucking it in with a shirt or a piece of knitwear, maybe skip the belt unless I really need it for stability, in which case it's fine. But I really don't have rules because I can't afford them because I don't have multiple belts. I can't afford only new rules by Kids Bop, Dua Lipa, but I cannot have multiple shoes and multiple belt leathers and wearing watch straps. Even my Time X watch doesn't even have a leather strap, so less things to worry about. And like matching metals, it's just no. So I mean, I just needed a really solid one, and I'm glad it's this black against the gold or whatever bronze kind of like look. It just it works for me. So if this ever wears out or breaks or I just cannot fit it anymore, then I will consider another belt, which is sort of scary because it seems like you have to find the right one in lots of thrifting. So I almost feel like I should get one in advance when this eventually doesn't work anymore. But works for me just fine.
I mean, there are like we talked about a couple of good places to get belts. I still really like the Scott Fraser Simpson ones. I think those have a great like kind of rounded buckle too.
Okay.
Which on my dress belts, on my like non kind of like funky either Western or workwear belts, I really like that kind of like rounded buckle. I don't like the the square one. How much excess belt length is okay? I think it also depends because with casual belts, I in theory like the look where you have like a belt that's kind of too long and hanging off, but in practice when I've done it, it just kind of gets in the way, and so I don't like it as much. But I think
you got to be like super skinny to do that.
That's the issue.
Yeah,
that's me. So,
right.
I feel like. I mean,
I don't know.
I also like that look, especially with like woven belts, right?
Yeah, exactly. Woven, like not with like regular leather belts, but something I don't know, something that can like hang. That like a woven belt or a cloth belt. I think it looks good.
Yeah.
What were you saying, Matt?
Oh, I'm just saying that like long hang off belt look. Like I think it's a great look, but I've never been able to find something that's perfect.
Yeah.
It's really just
it's it's like a very like old school like Ralph Lauren catalog kind of thing to do.
I think Chris does it great.
Yeah. It shouldn't be flopping around. I beg to differ.
Yeah, I mean, the only people I've seen pull it off are like really, well, not even pull it off. To even have that is because they're really skinny guys. Like they just
you have the excess.
Yeah, exactly. Like our friend John Robinson, right? I think he has literally a snatched waist because he's very, very fit. So of course he's gonna have some excess, you know. And if you're probably 15 like he is, you're probably finding belts with like 32 or 34 that are probably 2, 3, 4 sizes too big for his waist. Don't know what that feels like.
Yeah, it must be fucking nice.
Yeah. Oh, my belts are too big for me. I have to wear them like this.
I gotta shop at the kids section.
Chad, go back in the shower.
That is behind the stream. Sorry, Spencer.
I think it's because of the lag. You know, like they don't.
Yeah, there's about 15 to 20-second delay. So
yeah, I can't do much about that. I'm sorry.
30 waist belts are slightly too long for my waist. Okay, Far Eastern, that's cool. I don't think I've been a 28-inch waist since I was like 10 years old, man.
I don't think I'm a 28 anymore. That's what I wear for the belt. Yeah. I have no idea what I am.
You need to learn and love and accept this you are.
Yeah,
exactly.
Love thyself.
Some body acceptance thing here.
I only love thy neighbor,
not thyself.
Yeah.
Wow.
I love thy neighbor. Hate thyself.
Hate thyself.
Yeah.
That's a tattoo or a shirt or both.
Yeah.
A shirt that says "Ask me to show you my tattoo," and then you show them that.
And it's the tattoo. The tattoo is of a shirt that says "Love thy neighbor, hate thyself."
And on the back, it's a website handle. .Christ.
Wait, what's Big Dog wearing?
And there's a QR code too somewhere.
There's a QR code over there.
You think you can get a QR code?
I love the idea of someone just like
you?
holding a phone.
Oh boy, and
that's the future.
So
Starting of the devil.
So no, what we should do, all of us who work on the podcast, we get a QR code with like the Patreon link or something.
Yeah,
good.
That'll hold up.
And then people will be
forehead.
Like, "Hey, what's that?"
Every hookup we have, it's like she's like, "Hey, what?" Like you gotta get it in like a place where only that partner will see it.
On the
shaft. It only shows up under UV lights.
You know how people get like elephant tattoos down there?
And so you're always like, hold on, let me turn on the UV lights.
Yeah, you just carry like a little pocket like UV flashlight and like
There was actually a funny thing where I don't know how this works.
Expose yourself.
You can't just have a black light app and it doesn't just make a black light from your phone. That's not how that works. No. But I think back in college, I was scared. Like, I had a friend came into my room like drunk. He's like, "Guys, let's blacklight and check our rooms." And this is just me being me, and I was like, "Please don't do that." like I'm not trying to expose myself or anything, but just to be on the safe side, I was like, "Can you let's not
ignorance
do that."
is bliss.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
I piss and cum everywhere.
Yeah.
And bleed. Yeah.
Whoa, it's all over your bed, Ethan. Did you know that? Oh, that's crazy. I didn't even know.
Someone must be coming into my room.
Who did that?
Someone's coming in my
I'm
already changed the locks on this bad boy. I don't know what's going on.
This is crazy.
Yeah.
It's coming in my bed.
But I guess what?
Who put this there?
Who put this here?
I mean, hey, I don't know if we're wrapping up this part. We can probably spend the last half just like riffing, and if anyone has questions, we'll answer them. But to finish this little thought off, that's what I did for sex. I remember one time I brought my friend over, like a new friend I made in college to my dorm. Like oh yeah, we'll come play video games with us, whatever. And he walks in, and my friend, my roommate has if you have dry skin, you have like lotion, right? You just it's whatever. But he walks in, takes one look, and goes, lotion.
Oh man!
And I'm like, bro, what the fuck? Like that's crazy, man.
Crazy.
I'll tell the guys after the stream a little bit more about that friend, but we're not going to get into it on the stream. We're not going to dox this guy. But yeah, thanks for listening to our belt stream. Again, you can listen to the full podcast episode and the essay on the blog right now, or look it up on
the essay. You can't listen to it.
Yeah, that's right.
We haven't gotten
find us on iTunes or wherever, Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Overcast, Style Direction all spelled out. Actually, I don't know if that works.
LimeWire.
I think on that one you spell out Style and Direction.
You can get us on LimeWire.
That's right.
It's pretty cool.